Welcome, everybody. My name is Adam Armstrong. I'm a 2005 graduate of the law school and currently serve as president of our Alumni Association. Let me welcome all of our award recipients, their families and guests, our alumni, our students, our faculty and staff, and also our past recipients of our 3 awards today. We know we're joined by some, and it'd be a meaningful tribute for those who are being honored today that you are here. We have the chat session available, so those past award recipients, feel free to put a note in the chat congratulating our 3 award winners today. Today we're presenting 3 awards. The Francis J. Conte Special Service Award to Lynn Reynolds, class of 1995. The Stephen E. Yuhas Alumni Special Service Award presented to Jim Byrd, the undergrad class of 1980 and the law school class of 1984. And the Richard P. Perna Young Alumni Award to Michelle Thompson, class of 2016. While we all can't be together for this like we'd like, one silver lining is that alumni beyond the Dayton area can be a part of this to celebrate this great day. Our board of directors of the Alumni Association strive to recognize the extraordinary. We proudly recognize both alumni and non-alumni who truly reflect the values and ideals of the School of Law in their day-to-day actions through professional integrity, exemplary achievement, extraordinary service, and continued active support. And we welcome continued support from all of you in connection with the law school, both during school and after graduation. Our Alumni Association has a nominating committee, which does some background work in identifying potential nominees for each of our awards. Actually welcome each of you to go to the law school's website, look at the detailed information we have about each of our awards, and there's a nomination form, and I encourage you all to look at that and nominate future recipients for these awards. Any alumni is welcome to join our nominating committee on the board, which again reviews qualifications of folks that are nominated, do a little vetting, and then that is brought to the full board for debate and discussion and voting. I mentioned earlier that our chat feature is available, and we invite all of you during this to submit personal notes and congratulations to our recipients. Let us know where you're from, what graduating class you are if you're an alum, and also encourage you to submit questions that can be given to our recipients during our question and answer session after our recipients receive the award. This event is being recorded and will be made available to University of Dayton School of Law webpage and the UD digital webpage. And so it's my pleasure to next introduce Dean Andy Strauss. And I just want to quickly say that what a great job he has done in the past several years leading this law school and increasing things like bar passage. We were the #1 increased school from 18 to 19 in bar passage. We jumped 22 spots with the largest leap among U.S. law schools in the U.S. News and World Report, and so much more. So congratulations to you, Andy, for what you're doing. Congratulations to our award recipients today, and Dean Strauss, you may go.
Thanks so much, Adam, for those really nice words. This is a really great event, and I think it's a really important event, not only in terms of honoring the 3 really outstanding recipients of our awards today, but I see them really in many ways as representing our broader alumni community, and it's a chance to really acknowledge our alums. I always have a hard time with that because our alums do so much. All of you do so much for us, and I feel like I'm at a loss to really reciprocate. You know, there's a lot of literature among cultural anthropologists like Claude Levi-Strauss and Marshall Salines about the nature of reciprocity in societies and how important it is, how important the kinship and lineages it is. And I feel it deeply personally, because normally if someone does something really nice for you, it's within our culture really expected that you do something nice for them, and that maintains the structure of our society. And in this role, I can't even begin to repay all that all of you do for us. And so I think this is one way of at least trying to acknowledge that, and particularly for, as I say, our three outstanding alums. And it just the accomplishments that the school has made, that Adam has referred to. I'm very proud to be the dean at this particular time, but the credit really goes to the faculty and the staff and the alum, all of you that have done so much to make our accomplishments happen. So with that, I would like to begin with our first award. It's the Francis J. Conte Special Services Award, named after the 7th Dean of the law school, Fran Conte, who served for 14 years as Dean, from 1987 to 2001, a very, very long deanship. Fran died in 2011, but I understand his wife, Kathy McShane, is with us today here, and a special welcome to Kathy. This award recognizes an individual's extraordinary community service as reflected in the school's Catholic Marianist values, and support for the School of Law through donations of time, talent, and financial assistance. And for this award, I can think of no one more deserving than our recipient, Lynn Reynolds. Lynn M. Reynolds, class of 1995, currently serves as the Deputy General Counsel of CareSource, one of the nation's largest Medicaid managed care plans, headquartered right here in Dayton. In her role, she supports business development, finance, and human resources to achieve the country's strategic growth initiatives. Prior to joining CareSource, she was head of legal for North America LexisNexis Legal and Professional, where she was responsible for the delivery of legal services to management on a wide range of issues, including mergers and acquisitions, antitrust, compliance, litigation, and all types of commercial matters. During her tenure, she managed a team of lawyers and staff located here in Dayton, as well as New York, Raleigh, Toronto, and Manila in the Philippines, through significant organizational change. Lynn also served as vice president and lead employment counsel of Relix, Inc., the parent company of LexisNexis. Additional roles in Lynn's career include of counsel at Faruqi, litigation associate at Chernsky, Hayman, and Kress, and staff attorney for the Honorable Deborah L. Cook of the Ohio Supreme Court. Lynn is a graduate of the University of Dayton School of Law and has been an adjunct professor in our government contracting and procurement program. In fact, she was our first adjunct professor in that program, I might add. She is currently a member of the board of directors of the Greater Dayton Volunteer Lawyers Project. She co-chaired the annual campaign for equal justice in 2017 and 2018, served on the executive leadership team for Go Red for Women, has served on the boards of the Dayton Bar Association and Life Essentials, and volunteers with Pro Bono Partnership of Ohio. Lynn is a fellow of both the Dayton Bar Foundation and Ohio State Bar Foundation. She also served on the Ohio Supreme Court's Board of Law Examiners. She has been AV or AV preeminent rated by Martindale-Hubbell since 2015. So you can see why Lynn is most deserving of the Fran J. Conte Award. And now we have our Director of Communications, Jordan Burgess, has prepared a video to introduce Lynn to all of you, although I'm sure she needs no introduction.
I like to problem solve. I like to put pieces of the puzzle together. Lynn Reynolds. I was always drawn to law. My father was a dentist, and his office was in our backyard. So I grew up seeing what it was like to be a professional. So my father was a big role model for me. I just looked at what my dad had built and the relationships with patients that he had, and I thought, I want that. I want these deeper relationships with people. I want to serve people. I want to serve a profession. Both my parents really were very active in our community. My mother served on a variety of boards and volunteered a significant amount, as did my dad. And so I think that also has played a really important part in my view of the importance of serving the community and making it a better place for everyone to live in. I am a big supporter of pro bono legal services, of ensuring that all people have access to lawyers to help them navigate the legal system. I never feel like I'm doing enough, so I think that's why I was very humbled to receive the award, because there's always so much more, there's so much need, there's so much that lawyers can do to contribute to our communities.
Congratulations, Lynn. It is now my honor to present Lynn Reynolds, UDSL class of 1995, with the Francis J. Conte Special Services Award. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you very much. And thank you, Adam, and the Alumni Association Board for this recognition. Adam, when you called me to share the news of the award, I really thought you were calling me to ask for a donation, and I had my checkbook out and ready to write one. I really was not expecting to receive this recognition at all, and I'm truly humbled to be in the company of the others who've received it before me, as well as Jim and Michelle, my fellow honorees today. This award is particularly special to me, given that Dean Conte was the dean when I attended UDSL. And I remember that Dean Conte included a handwritten note with my acceptance letter to UDSL. And in it, he shared reasons from my background for why he thought I would make be a valuable contributor to UDSL. And that personal note really is what set UDSL apart from all the other law schools that I was considering at that time. And it was because I wasn't just another applicant. I wasn't just another prospective student. Dean Conte showed that he had a personal interest in me, the school had a personal interest in me, and how I could uniquely contribute to the community, the law school community. And that personal interest in my development as a law student and a professional continued throughout my 3 years of law school, from the faculty, administration, and the staff to my fellow students. And it continues after law school. When you go to UDSL, you become part of the UDSL Alumni Association, that community. And I've had the privilege of working with other UDSL alumni during my career who have served as friends and mentors. Tom Welly, Melanie Mackin, Nancy Nash, Jim Byrd, Kermit Lowry, Bruce Martino, just are the ones that come to the top of my head. And there are many more. But you'll see that from the video, you saw that my parents, and particularly my father, Ed Reynolds, have obviously been big influences in my life. And so I want to thank my dad for joining me today and for teaching me what it means to be a professional. Thanks also to my partner, Andy Slade, my sons, Philip and Dominic, my sister and brother, who are also attending. Thank you all for joining me today and for all of your support. And thank you again, Dean and Adam. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lynn. And again, congratulations. Our next award is the Stephen E. Yuhas Award. Steve served in Adam's role as president of the Alumni Association for many years and was beloved among the entire UDSL community. Created in 2010, the Stephen E. Yuhas Alumni Special Services Award recognizes a University of Dayton School of Law graduate who has been deeply involved in the work of the Alumni Association and the School of Law through extraordinary service and exceptional contributions of time, talent, and financial assistance. Again, we have the perfect person for this award, and that person is Jim Byrd. I've come to know Jim quite well in my now 6 years at University of Dayton School of Law. Jim and I get together for meals every few months, I think. And I'm going to actually disclose something here, which I'm sure they teach you, if there was such a thing as a dean school, they would teach you on the very first day of school. And that is, don't discuss politics with your key advisors. Jim serves on our advisory council. Invariably, Jim and I get into heated political discussions on almost every single of our outings. And I think it's really testament to our friendship, and really could be an exemplar for the society as a whole, that Jim and I do this, and we really don't agree on all that much, but we still manage to be friends. And I realize that is something I'm probably not supposed to do, much less admit here today, but it is the case. And it's really a testament to Jim's ability to really have that bond of friendship, despite the kinds of differences that emerge in society. I will say that his wife, Barb, who's here today, she and I tend to agree, and we're working on Jim. With that, let me give a little bit of background about why Jim is so deserving of the award today. Jim is a 1980 graduate of the university and 1984 graduate of the School of Law. He served on the Law School's Advisory Council since 2010 and served on the Alumni Association Board for many years as well. As a member of the Dean's Advisory Council, he has played an active role in advising on the development and implementation of the online and non-degree programs offered by UDSL, and has consistently supported programs of UDSL contributing time and financial support. He is a two-time graduate of UD, receiving his undergraduate degree in criminal justice in 1980, as well as his Juris Doctorate cum laude. Jim also joined fellow alumni admitted to the bar of the Supreme Court of the United States in 2015. After 22 years of service, Jim retired from LexisNexis as Associate General Counsel and Senior Director. During his tenure, he was part of the legal department senior leadership team and managed the legal affairs of 4 primary business units. His responsibilities included vendor and customer contracting and other commercial agreements, licensing, publishing, e-commerce, copyright, developing global content acquisition policies, disputes, litigation, compliance matters and acquisitions, and divestiture agreements. Before joining LexisNexis, Jim founded an air freight forwarding company where he was vice president and general counsel, served as legal counsel for Huffy Corporation, and worked as an associate at Smith & Snocki, now Thompson Hine, where he focused on corporate law and mergers and acquisitions. He also clerked for the Honorable Carl B. Rubin, Chief Judge of the United States District Court for the Southern District of Ohio. Jim is a founder and served as a board member of Mustang Journeys, a nonprofit corporation dedicated to helping veterans work through post-traumatic stress disorders by domesticating wild Mustangs. He also worked with the annual Access to Equal Justice campaign. It is now my pleasure to introduce Jordan's video for Jim.
The law school really formed the keystone for my education. It was the basis for my whole career. I'm Jim Byrd, and I am both proud and fortunate to have attended the University of Dayton at both the graduate level, where I received my Juris Doctor from the School of Law in 1984, as well as at the undergraduate level, where I received my degree in criminal justice in 1980. At UD, one of the things that really helped was that community sense. The students were all seemed to be pulling for one another. Everybody wanted everybody else to do well as well. In addition to the law, which was certainly something we also learned about the importance of relationships, the importance of the ability to communicate. They did instill the values and the integrity and the respect for your colleagues, and I think that's very important. And those are things that serve you well in your career, because I did when I was out and working at LexisNexis and other places, it really was important. The lawyers were often the ones who would analyze the situation and come up with the solution that works. I know the people that have received this award before me, and frankly, that's a good group of people. I'm privileged to be involved with those or to be included with them.
It is now my honor, Jim, to present to you the UD class of the UD class of 1981 and the UDSL class of 1984, the Yuhas Alumni Special Services Award.
Thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. I'd also like to thank Adam Armstrong and the Alumni Board. It's an honor to be included with this group, and especially I knew Steve, and certainly respect the love he had for the University of Dayton School of Law. I'd also like to thank the law school faculty and staff for being so helpful and supportive and basically enjoyable to work with in all my dealings with the University of Dayton School of Law. So, as I said, it's quite an honor to be chosen for this award, and I greatly appreciate it. I was entirely surprised when Adam called. Unlike Lynn, I did not have my checkbook out, but I was surprised nonetheless. Basically, the reason I was surprised was that the University of Dayton School of Law and the experience and education that I got there was such a significant occurrence and significant factor in my personal life and professional career, then it just seemed like the natural thing to do, to continue working with the School of Law after graduation. And I have tried to follow through with that. It was simply a significant portion of my life. With respect to the education, the legal education at the University of Dayton School of Law was, of course, excellent. But what really, I believe, made UD School of Law's experience head and shoulders above others was three things. And first, and I think Lynn alluded to this too, is the personal touches, but also the sense of community that you develop there. The student body, as well as the faculty, always seem to be pulling for each other. And the faculty was, of course, pulling for the students. Everybody was doing their best to help one another out. The second thing is that it taught the core values, in keeping with its Marianist tradition. It taught the core values of hard work, integrity, and respect. And the third thing that made UD special was it really did teach the value and the importance of an unbiased discussion and analysis of the details, facts, and circumstances of each case to arrive at the best solution or the best resolution, as the case may be. In short, the University of Dayton School of Law taught the value of relationships, which I think is extremely important when you get out and you're practicing law and you're with the legal community. So value of relationships, as well as the intertwining of the facts and the law, and applying sound judgment to reach the best resolution. So working with the School of Law, and continuing to do so, has been enlightening. That is, getting to see a bit of what is entailed to run a law school, which is quite a bit more than I would have thought as a student. And then also, it's even more gratifying to see how the School of Law has progressed since I graduated from there. When I attended, it was a young law school, and it was operated out of Albert Emanuel Hall, which is the smaller building next door. And it wasn't technologically oriented, and since that time, the School of Law now has a new facility, which has much better technology. They've developed programs in law and technology. They've developed somewhat of an expertise in patents and things like that. It is among the first law schools to have been approved by the ABA to offer an online JD program. And that actually was quite an accomplishment. I think it was the third, perhaps, that was authorized by the ABA to provide that program. It also has developed a number of non-JD programs. And non-JD programs, including government contracting, patent agency, international LLM, and several courses and programs, even in China, Japan, and Korea. So it's also, as Adam alluded to, and its admission criteria have increased greatly. The median LSAT, the median GPA have increased, and overall reputation, recognition, and ranking have increased significantly. So I mean, it's really come a long way, and a lot of that is in fact due to the work of Andy and the current administration, as well as his predecessors. You know, my continued involvement with the School of Law, and knowing that I played some small part in its development and progress, you know, has been rewarding. And I would encourage all alums and others, you know, that are involved with school to continue their engagement with the law school, and to become actively engaged with the School of Law. And I can assure those that do continue their relationship with the law school that it will be a rewarding and enjoyable experience, as it has been for me. So again, thanks to the Alumni Association and to Andy, who, despite our political differences, has seen fit to go ahead and give me this award anyway. And I do appreciate that, you know. So I look forward to our continued discussions, as a matter of fact. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jim, and congratulations again. It is now my honor to introduce the next award, the Richard Perna Young Alumni Award of Excellence. This award recognizes the UDSL graduate who's made significant leadership, career, and/or service contribution to their community, the School of Law, or the legal profession within 10 years of graduation. This award was created by the Alumni Association of the University of Dayton in 2017 in honor of Richard Perna at his retirement celebration, recognizing his 34 years of dedicated service to the School of Law. And Rick has become a good personal friend of mine. I think when I first arrived in Dayton, I think on the very first night, Rick had me to dinner and introduced me to the whole community. And in the intervening period, I've relied on Rick for his really, really wise counsel when I've had a variety of different thorny issues that I've had to deal with. Rick is going to introduce the awardee, which I think is very fitting. And so I just want to introduce Rick now. He began his tenure at UDSL in 1982 as Director of Clinical Programs, during which time he expanded clinical course offerings and the number of faculty and students participating in clinical courses. He served a combined 13 years under 2 deans as Associate Dean for Academic Affairs. He played a key role in the planning and successful construction of Keller Hall. He is beloved by students and alumni, having been selected as Professor of the Year and being noted for his creativity and caring. He also received in 2016 the Honorary Alumni Award. He is a founding member of the Greater Dayton Volunteer Lawyers Project and served as president of its board of directors. He was characterized as the right leader at the right time by Bill Wheeler, the executive director of the Dayton Bar Association, for his distinguished service to the Dayton community as the 100th president of the Dayton Bar Association from 2014 to 2015. Our Alumni Association named Professor Perna as a 2016 recipient of the Honorable Walter H. Rice Honorary Alumni Award. This new award recognizes a UDSL graduate who has made a significant leadership, career, and/or service contribution to the community, and it is fitting that Rick Perna himself announced the winner of the award. Rick.
Thank you so much, Dean Strauss, for those very kind and generous words. I'm touched. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. And I'd like to add my congratulations to those to Lynn and Jim for their awards this afternoon. I am thrilled to be here this afternoon to participate in this awards ceremony and to recognize Michelle Thompson of the class of 16 as this year's recipient of the 2021 Young Alumni Award of Excellence. Michelle exemplifies excellence in her legal career and in her commitment to community service. She has worked to improve our justice system and to champion the rule of law and the rights of marginalized and underrepresented people. I'm proud of all our young alumni, and I'm especially proud of Michelle and all she has accomplished so early in her career. Michelle is currently a litigation attorney with Cayman and Cusimano in Cincinnati, where she represents community associations and nonprofits throughout Ohio. Her work is focused on advising to prevent litigation, contract disputes, construction defects, and general business litigation matters. Michelle was born and raised on the south side of Chicago. She graduated magna cum laude from St. Xavier University in 2013. That's in Chicago as well. In the fall of 2013, she moved to Dayton to attend law school here at UDSL, and she settled in quickly and fully immersed herself into the community. While at UDSL, Michelle excelled academically. She was a staff writer for the Dayton Law Review and competed on the mock trial team. Michelle was the president of the Volunteer Student Lawyers Project, a student organization focused on its mission of preserving and expanding access to justice. She also interned for Chief Magistrate Sharon L. Ovington, United States District Court for the Southern District of Ohio. As if that wasn't enough, Michelle also began networking with UDSL alumni in the Dayton legal community even before her graduation. She worked alongside members of the UDSL Alumni Association to create scholarships for law students interning in public service positions each summer. At her graduation, Michelle received both the Pro Bono Commitment to Community Award and the Lisa A. Kloppenberg Student Leadership Award for her contributions to and involvement with the law school, for her academic contributions to the profession, and for her commitment to public service. After graduation, Michelle's passion for service and access to justice continued as she regularly volunteered for programs with the Greater Dayton Volunteer Lawyers Project, chaired committees to fundraise for Legal Aid of Ohio, and undertook many pro bono cases. Michelle has also served the non-legal community. She was a member of the Dayton Children's Women's Board, the Board of Directors of the Disability Foundation, which is part of the Dayton Foundation, and the Associate Board of the Dayton History Museum at Carillon Park. Michelle also regularly volunteered with Habitat for Humanity and the Goodwill Easter Seals of Miami Valley. She also continued to work directly with the UDSL the Volunteer Student Lawyer Project to ensure law students had the opportunity to serve the community through their law school careers. In 2018, Michelle received the Ohio State Bar Foundation District 2 Community Service Award for attorneys 40 and under. And in 2019, she was a recipient of the Dayton Business Journal's 40 Under 40 Award. She was also invited to participate in the 2019 Ohio State Bar Association's Leadership Academy. Despite a busy and expanding career, she still regularly volunteers with the Dayton Bar Association, the Ohio State Bar Association, with the organization she served as a board member, and with the UDSL community. I'd like to now introduce the video, or we can now turn to the video that will tell you a little bit about and introduce Michelle to you.
I've wanted to be an attorney for my entire life, as long as I can remember. Michelle Thompson. I had actually never been to Dayton, but when I came to the law school and I stepped through these doors, I really did feel at home. The staff, the faculty, they're people that I consider family to this day, and without their support, I certainly wouldn't be where I am now. I am a trial attorney at heart. It's not about being argumentative or just liking to argue in general. It's about zealously advocating for clients who can't otherwise represent themselves. I once had an attorney that I worked with tell me that awards like this don't matter. The reality of it is that these awards are important. They're important because I don't help my peers or volunteer in the community or become a leader so I can put a plaque on my wall or so I can get recognition. But to get an award like this and to show others that this is what I'm doing, at least can maybe give them some insight on how to help other people. I wouldn't be where I am today without the alumni and this law school helping me through some really hard times, including through my career path. And I just want to keep giving that back. And that's what this award exemplifies.
I am so very pleased to be able to award the 2021 UDSL Young Alumni Award of Excellence to Michelle Thompson. Congratulations, Michelle.
Thank you so much, Professor Perna. So I first want to congratulate Lynn and Jim on their awards. After working with the Alumni Association since law school, it truly is humbling to receive this award alongside the two of you. And I certainly have big shoes to fill from prior recipients, including Jane Novick and Scott Ganau. So I think some of you are in the audience, and I really appreciate you being here and hope I fill those shoes proudly. I would also like to thank the Alumni Association, the nomination committee, and the law school, especially Dean Strauss, Adam Armstrong, Colleen, Leanne, Jessica, Paula, Jordan, all the people who made this event possible, and they continue to put this event on year after year. And it even in the times of COVID, they've made it very successful. Of course, I'd like to thank Professor Perna. It is such an honor to receive this award from you. You have done so much for the law school and for the legal community, and it really is an honor to get that from you and to continue to serve this community with your name now attached to this award. So thank you for that. I would like to thank my family, my partner Stephanie, my friends, and Cayman and Cusimano, all who traveled a really long way to be here. I'm kidding, but I know that they would have traveled all this way to attend the award ceremony had it been in person. I lastly want to take the time to thank my grandmother, Carmela Didi Lanero, who unfortunately lost her battle to COVID last year. I know she watched over me as I was sworn into the Illinois bar this morning, which I hoped she would one day see. And like she would always tell me before every big case, I know she is telling me today, go get him, babe. So like Lynn and Jim, when Adam called me, I almost thought, what did I do? Because usually I'm the one calling Adam, but I was too truly surprised. There are so many deserving people that are in the audience right now, and so many of them are my mentors. I truly owe you all the biggest thank you, because I realize that I'm only receiving this award because of your continuous guidance over the years. You know, Jim explained the sense of community at the law school, and I cannot even begin to explain the sense of community that I've felt since day one. A lot of people talk about how difficult law school can be. I know that the law students now are being challenged going through this during COVID, but nobody talks about the challenges of our personal lives while attending law school. And since that first day, that first year, so many members of the faculty and staff, attorneys and judges all took me under their wing. And that really started from career services, usually holding panels or different events at the law school to give us a chance to meet different alumni in the community, similar to what we did earlier today. And anyone that I've met in the Dayton legal community always said yes to meet me, whether it was for a coffee or lunch meeting, for me to pick their brain. They always guided me through my decision-making and my career. And they truly have paved the way to help the Dayton legal and non-legal community every chance they had. And that's where I get that from. And when I see my peers doing that and my mentors doing that, it guides me to do the same. And so I strive to do that, whether it is sitting on a panel at the law school, taking a student out to lunch, whether it's virtual or in person these days, teaching them how to network, or just giving guidance when they ask for it. And sometimes even when they don't ask for it. As young lawyers, we must continue to pave the way for our current and future colleagues. You know, Jim is right, it is rewarding, but I feel that it's an obligation for us as alumni to continue the success of the law school, the success of the legal and non-community, not just Dayton, but throughout the country, and to ensure that we find ways to find access for justice. The Dayton community is special, which is what I've been telling my family is the reason I haven't moved back to Chicago in about 8 years. I am so grateful to be a part of this community, and I will always make it a point to serve the Dayton community, regardless of where I live or where I practice law. Thank you again for attending this wonderful event and sitting through my long-winded remarks, although I'm sure none of you are surprised. And thank you again to the University of Dayton School of Law.
Well, let me offer my congratulations again to Lynn, to Jim, to Michelle. It's a pleasure to serve as a president of the Alumni Association, but it's even greater to make phone calls to let people know that they're deserving of great awards. So congrats to all of you. Thank you to the nominating committee. Thanks to the individuals that have made nominations. Again, I would encourage all of you to visit the law school's website, review the awards that the Alumni Association provides, and provide future nominations for those awards. So at this time, let me introduce Jordan Burgess, Director of Communications and Marketing, who will moderate the Q&A session with Lynn, Jim, and Michelle.
All right, thanks so much, Adam. Again, if you want to ask one of our award winners a question, just put it down there in the Q&A, and we will try to get it in. And also let that be a lesson to everyone watching that if Adam calls you, just make sure you answer. He might not just be asking for money. In fact, Adam, maybe you could put your cell phone in the chat so that people can identify that number and they're not just thinking it's another robocall or something. So I guess the first question we could start with Lynn. Lynn, what's it like to win the Fran Conte Award? I mean, he was the dean. He was the reason, one of the big reasons why you went to law school. I mean, if you would have went back in time and told yourself, hey, you're going to win an award, named after, the Dean Conte, what would you have thought?
I would have been highly skeptical. I mean, my first year of law school, I walked around with a bottle of kaopectate in my bag. I found law school to be pretty challenging, and so to think that 25 years later to receive a reward is definitely very humbling and a big surprise. So you just never know what's going to happen in your life, I guess.
That's great. Jim, a question for you. I think it's really kind of a burning question that everyone has. So, when you go to lunch with Dean Strauss, who pays? Does Dean Strauss pay? And if he pays, can others go? Like, could you invite maybe like some of us to go along? Is that? Oh, you're on mute, Jim. Jim, there we go.
Okay. I am sure that as many folks as one come would be welcome, but I'd be concerned. I might be outnumbered if.
Well, it just matters who's paying. So, but Jim, I wanted to ask you seriously. I mean, you talk a lot about just how kind of the law school and the feeling of the camaraderie and everything. I mean, what was that like? I mean, in Albert Emanuel Hall and kind of just the few rooms that the law school was in, and I'd seen the pictures of the lounge down there. What was that like?
I actually noticed you did find a picture of the lounge for my video.
That's right.
quite a bit different back then. I mean, it was small enough, and frankly, I think someone said it today, Blake said during our discussion, those of us who graduated then, we didn't see PowerPoints and we didn't have the technology, and we weren't all on computers that we have now. I think some of us might be a bit lost with all of the technology now, but back then it actually served to push us together. I remember we used to be in study groups, with various folks, and you'd form bonds that way. It really was a bit of a small community, and everybody discussed things together as far as, things that happened in the school, classes, points along, things like that. It really was a smaller community, and not that we were all studying. We also had a good time together too. I mean, there were certainly instances where after exams, we went to Flanagan's for drinks together or what have you. But really, it was a smaller school, or it seemed smaller, just because the facility was small. I think they had 4 classrooms. So it was a good experience.
All right, thanks, Jim. And Michelle, next question for you. I know you talked about, just kind of the feeling that you got when you visited campus as to what made you decide to go to law school in Dayton. But what was that like? I mean, being from Chicago and coming here, not really knowing a lot necessarily about Dayton. I mean, what kind of went into all of that?
Well, it was certainly different coming from Chicago, big city, to this the little gem city that Dayton is, and I really did learn to love it. I like to think that I make friends easily, and it really was that sense of community. And my professors, and the faculty and staff, Leanne Ross is, as she knows, like my family away from home. So, and still to this day, I feel that way. And that was just Dayton taking me under their wing. So it did help to get out in the community and volunteer. I mean, that's what I'm passionate about. And so when I found like-minded people, I really felt right at home. And although I currently live in Columbus, I do consider Dayton home for me, and I miss it dearly.
All right. Next question. We'll ask all the panelists. So we'll go around. We can start with Lynn. Just kind of a favorite memory of law school, or maybe a favorite class or something that you can share with us. Keeping in mind that the people could be in the audience. Who you're talking about.
I know. So I can't think about law school without fondly thinking about Professor Watson, who I cannot call Blake. He will always be Professor Watson. We started law school at the same time. I was in he started teaching at the university the same time I was in his first 1L class. And so I recall fondly, not the rule against perpetuities. I do not recall that fondly, but I do recall fondly being in his classroom. He had this temperament that sort of settled us down quite a bit. We were all sort of a little high strung, a lot of anxiety, and Professor Watson gave us sort of a reprieve from some of the intensity. He still taught us everything we needed to know, but it was a welcome reprieve from some of the other classes where the professors would adopt a more traditional Socratic method of teaching that was a little intimidating. So I do remember property law quite fondly.
How about you, Jim? A favorite memory or class or professor?
Well, there were a number of memories, it's for sure, and most of them were good. I'll tell you one of the most significant memories, and right now it was a hard learned lesson, but it's one of the ones that resonates with me the most. So it's not exactly my favorite, but I do remember in constitutional law, which was, it was a difficult course. And on the exam, I had studied quite a bit for it when I got it back. It was not a high grade for me. And I went to talk to the professor about it. And what it turned out is I had read a question. There were 4 questions on the exam. I had read one of them wrong because I mistook a U for an O. So instead of it being United States statute, I read it as Ohio, so OS would for me Ohio State statute, which changed the whole context of the question. And, you know, so that was a little bit distressing. But when I went to talk to the professor about it, he explained to me that he wasn't going, and he gave me 0 points for it. So, you know, you're starting off with, you know, 3 questions that you could potentially get right, one you just got 0 credit for. He explained to me that when you're out in your career, it's going to be really hard to tell the judge that you misread something, or to tell your client that you misread something and you don't get a do-over. And so he said he wasn't going to give any credit or change it at all. It was, again, at the time, it was not very, I was a little bit angry about it, but it really taught a hard-learned lesson, which I think is important. You don't get a do-over when you're out in real life. You know, and so that was significant, not fun, but really a poignant memory.
All right, thanks, Jim. Michelle, same question to you, kind of a favorite memory, but first a little bit, I'm kind of curious about, you know, did you have, I mean, was it Socratic method still with you? Did you still have some of those situations of, you know, feeling really nervous in class about being called on?
I will ditto Lynn, that Professor Watson did make it a little less scary, and he would put pictures of dogs up before class. So I always love to share my puppy. So that was nice, but we certainly had a couple professors that used the Socratic method. And one, which wasn't the easiest class, was Con Law, which I had Professor Dennis Green, who I certainly miss dearly, and I know many people do. I wish he could be here, of course. But he taught a very hard class, but he was such a great professor and also gave a lot of great guidance. So I can't be mad about that. But I guess to answer the question, yeah, I would have to say my favorite memory would be competing in mock trial. So Dennis Lieberman and Dennis Turner were our coaches, and I tend to be very stubborn. And Dennis Lieberman is a very hard coach. And I remember so many times leaving practice thinking, I'm never going to be a trial attorney. I hate this. And then during the competition, I would be practicing the way he taught me and the way we practice. And then I would kick myself and think, I hate when I'm wrong, but he's so right. And I still use the way he taught me to this day. I mean, because of him, I was a ready and willing trial attorney the moment I passed the bar. So probably my best memories of law school.
That's great. So I think we got time for one more question for everybody. I think I'll ask, which when I talk to you guys for the videos, I asked too, just your advice for, you know, for students or young lawyers. And I guess we can start with you, Lynn. Just, you know, what would you kind of tell, you know, a law student or prospective law student or somebody just kind of starting out in their career?
Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Take on those tough assignments. Try new things. And do it when you have the ability to have someone who can mentor you, right? Because as you progress in your career, you'll become the mentor. And so volunteer and develop your mentors so that you learn and figure out what it is that you love to do.
All right, Jim, advice for students or young lawyers?
Well, in addition to what Lynn just said, because she actually said a lot of what I would have said, I'd say be ready to work hard and be willing to work hard. Take the opportunities, because everybody you work with, every project that you have is an experience that you learn from, and be ready for that and willing to undertake those things with knowledge that whatever you do is going to garner you some experience. It's going to help you in the future. So again, be ready to work hard and willing to work hard.
All right. And Michelle, just advice from you. I mean, obviously, I mean, you haven't been out of law school as long, you know, things that you learned that help you, you know, now and, you know, what you would tell students who were in your place.
Jordan, don't age my peers here. Okay. They are young also.
Well, you did get the Young Alumni Award.
Yeah,
So,
no, I know. So I gave this advice when you asked me about the video, but my best advice I could always give is to over prepare every chance you can. You will not have opportunities to over prepare. Sometimes you could get a case and from a partner and have to go to a hearing and have no idea what's happening in the case, but you'll figure it out. But if you have the opportunity to over prepare, you should. And I say that because as young lawyers, we don't always have the confidence that we would like to have in a courtroom with a well-seasoned attorney. But if you over-prepare, you are automatically going to have that confidence because you know what's going to come up. You know that you worked hard. You know that you know the case inside and out. And so that is advice that someone gave me even in college, and I took it and ran with it, and it hasn't. It's been good for me ever since, and certainly in trials, but I do mean that in any way that you can, whether you're giving a presentation or meeting with a partner or something, be prepared.
all right. Well, thank you and congratulations again to all three of you. This was fantastic. Thank you for sharing your advice. And again, thank you to everyone who attended. This is a fantastic event. Hopefully we can do it in person again in the not too distant future. But this is nice for Zoom for people to be able to attend from across the country who may not be able to otherwise. So again, thank you everyone for attending. Congratulations to our awardees. And until next time, so long, everybody.
Thanks, Jordan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.